Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to my channel, SROMA Stories. Today, the subject is entitlement. My name is Adwoa, and this is my story. I grew up in Kumasi with my mother and two younger brothers. My father died when I was young, so I watched my mother struggle to pay our fees, buy food, and keep a roof over our heads. Because of that, I became very careful with money. After uni, I moved to Accra and got a job as an accountant in a private company. I wasn't wealthy, but I saved consistently. I had learned that having money was not about showing off. It's about having something to fall back on when life becomes difficult. That was when I met Yao. We met through a mutual friend at a small gathering in Accra. He was confident, funny, and surprisingly respectful. What attracted me most was the way he spoke about my career. I like ambitious women, he would. He told me one evening. I laughed. Some men say that until the woman starts earning more than them. He shook his head. I will be proud of my wife's success. Those words stayed with me. Our relationship developed naturally. Y'all never complained about my long working hours. When I received a promotion, he celebrated with me. After 2 years, he proposed. I said yes. Our wedding was modest because we agreed that we didn't need to spend everything we had we had trying to impress people. After the marriage, we rented a comfortable apartment in Accra. We agreed to share household expenses equally. At first, everything worked perfectly. Then Yao lost his job. He came home one evening looking worried. Adwoa, I have been laid off. I held his hand. Don't worry, we will get through this. I meant every word I said. What I didn't know was that helping my husband through a difficult season would eventually become a permanent responsibility I never agreed to carry. Yao's unemployment lasted longer than we expected. At first, he was actively searching for work. He attended interviews, updated his CV, and applied for different positions. While he searched, I took care of almost everything. I paid the rent, I bought groceries, I paid the electricity and water bills. When Yao needed money for transportation to interviews, I gave it to him. I never complained. One evening he hugged me. I don't know what I would have done without you. I smiled. You don't have to worry. We are partners. Those words became important later. After several months, Yale finally got another job. I was genuinely happy. We celebrated with a simple dinner. I expected us to return to our previous arrangement where we shared expenses, but Yao didn't bring it up. His first salary came, then another. Yet, I was still paying most of the household bills. At first, I assured I assumed he was trying to recover financially. Then one Saturday, I reminded him about the electricity bill. You can handle it this month, I said. He looked at me surprisingly. Why? Because you are working now. He laughed. Adwoa, your money is our money. Why are you keeping track of it? I stared at him. I don't understand. He struggled. We are married. There is no yours and my. I didn't want to argue, so I paid the bill. Few weeks later, I noticed that Yao had sent money to his younger brother. I didn't complain because I knew his brother was in school. But then it happened again and again. Soon, money was being sent to his mother, his sister, and other relatives. One evening, I asked him about it. Yo, we need to discuss our finances. He looked annoyed. What is it there to discuss? I don't mind helping your family, but I think we should agree before sending large sums of amounts. He leaned back. You are becoming too calculative. That word hurts me. I wasn't being calculative. I was trying to protect the future we were supposed to build together. But Yao has started seeing my caution as selfishness, and I was about to discover just how far his expectations had gone. The first person to call me directly for money was Yao's younger brother, Kwejo. Please, Sister Amma, I need help with my school fees. I was surprised. Where is Yao? He said I should call you. I called Yao immediately. Did you ask Kwejo to call me? Yes, you can help him. Why didn't you tell me first? He sounded irritated because I knew you would help him. I became silent. That statement bothered me. I wasn't asking anymore. I was assuming. I eventually paid part of Kojo's fees. Then Yao's mother needed money for a medical bill. Another bill? I contributed. Her sister later wanted money to start selling cosmetics. I helped him again. Each time I told myself it was family, but the request never stopped. One evening, I opened my banking app and realized how much money I had sent to Yao's relatives over several months. I felt sick. I had barely added anything to my own savings. When Yao came home, I showed him the figures. Look at this. He glanced at the phone. So? So? Yao, this is becoming too much. He frowned. You don't want to help my family anymore? That's not what I said. We need boundaries. He became angry. Your family is important, but mine isn't? That's unfair. You have changed since we got married. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had supported his family when he was unemployed. Now he was making me feel guilty for asking him to contribute. Few days later, his mother called me. Adwoa, Yao says you don't want to support the family again. I was stunned. I never said that. She sighed. When you marry a man, you become part of his family. I understand, ma'am, but we also have responsibilities. She became quiet. Then she said, don't let money destroy your marriage. I ended the call feeling terrible. That evening, Yao came home smiling. Why are you upset? Because you told your mother that I don't want to help them again? He struggled. I only told her the truth. No, you told her your version of the truth. For the first time, I began wondering whether Yao was deliberately making his family believe that I was responsible for them. My suspicion was confirmed when another relative called me the following week, and this time the amount she requested was much bigger. Yao's sister wanted money to expand her small business. The amount she requested was more than I could comfortably give. I told her I couldn't help her. That evening, Yao confronted me. You embarrassed my sister. I didn't insult her. I simply said I couldn't afford it. You can't afford it? No, Yao, I can't. He stared at me. You earn more than I do. That doesn't mean my salary belongs to everyone. He became angry. You are my wife, and you are my husband. That means we should discuss financial decisions. He walked away. I thought the matter was finished. Few weeks later, I received a message from my bank. There was an issue concerning a loan application. I became confused. I contacted the bank and discovered that Yao had used my salary account information as part of a loan arrangement. I immediately called him. Yao, what loan did you apply for? There was silence. What are you talking about? The bank contacted me. He sighed. He was going to tell me when I needed money. You used my financial information without properly informing me. His response shocked me. Adwoa, you are my wife. What belongs to you belongs to me. I reminded him that marriage didn't mean one person should make financial decisions for the other without consent. He accused me of treating him like a stranger. I told him that trust requires honesty. We argued for nearly an hour. That night, I couldn't sleep. The next morning, I called my bank and asked them to secure my account. I also spoke to my financial advisor. For the first time, I realized I had been so focused on helping Yao that I had stopped protecting myself. Then something happened that made everything worse. While organizing some documents at home, I found a notebook containing Yao's personal financial records. I saw his salary figures. I saw his expenses. And I discovered that he was not as financially helpless as he made me believe. In fact, he had been saving a significant portion of his salary every month. Whilst I was paying the rent, food, utilities, and other expenses, Yao was quietly building his own savings. I waited for Yao to come home before confronting him. Then, when he arrived, I placed the notebook on the table. What's this? He looked at it. His face changed. Where did you find that? That doesn't matter. Is this your salary? He remained silent. Yao, answer me. Yes. I looked at the figures again. You have been saving this much every month? He sat down. I was trying to secure my future. I laughed bitterly. What about our future? He looked uncomfortable. You were handling the household. Exactly. I couldn't hear my tears. You know I was paid almost everything whilst you were saving your salary. He tried to explain. I thought you were comfortable. Comfortable? I pointed at the bills. You know I was struggling to maintain our home. He became defensive, but I paid some things. Sometimes, Yao, I paid most of them all. Then I asked the question that had been sitting in my heart. Why? He looked away. Because I knew you could handle it. That answer hurt more than anything. He wasn't depending on me because he had no choice. He was depending on me because he had become comfortable. My kindness had become his strategy. I told him that from that day forward, I would divide our expenses according to our incomes. He became angry. You want to separate everything now? No, I want fairness. He refused. You are becoming difficult. I shook my head. No, Yao, I'm becoming aware. The following month, I stopped sending money to his relatives without discussing it with him. I stopped paying expenses that were his responsibility. I continued paying my agreed portion of the household costs. Within weeks, everything changed. Yao began complaining constantly. His brother called me. His mother called. and even his sister called. Everyone wanted to know why I had stopped helping. I finally realized that Yao had created an expectation around my money. His family didn't see my help as generosity anymore. They saw it as something they were entitled to receive. Then one afternoon, Yao's mother came to our apartment unexpectedly. She didn't come to greet me. She came to demand money. And what happened next made me finally decide that something had to change. Yao's mother sat across from me. Adwoa, I hear you have stopped supporting the family. I remained calm. Ma, I have not stopped supporting anyone. I simply cannot continue paying for everything. She frowned. You are Yao's wife. I know. When you marry him, you marry his family. I took a deep breath. Marriage doesn't mean I must carry every financial responsibility. She became upset. In our time, women didn't behave like this. I didn't argue. I simply said, times have changed. She stood up angry. You have changed, my son. That statement hurt, but I didn't respond. When Yao came home, his mother had already left. I told him what happened. Instead of defending me, he said you should have handled it better. I stared at him. Your mother came here demanding money from me, and I respect her, but she cannot decide how my salary should be spent. He became silent. Then he said, maybe we need some time apart. I hadn't expected that. You want to leave because I won't fund your family? No, I just think you are becoming selfish. That was the final straw. I packed few clothes and called my friend Mabel. I'm coming to stay with you for a while. She didn't ask many questions. When I arrived, I cried for hours. Not because I regretted setting boundaries. I cried because I finally understood how little my sacrifice had been appreciated. I had believed that giving more would make my marriage stronger. Instead, it had created entitlement. For the next week, I stayed with Mabel and focused on work. I didn't call Yao. He didn't call me either. Then one evening, I received a message from him. I think we should talk. I agreed. When we met, he told me that he had been struggling since I stopped covering the expenses. I looked at him. Now you understand? He lowered his head. But I wasn't sure whether he had learned his lessons or simply missed the comfort my money provided. You asked me to return home. I have realized my mistakes, he said. I listened quietly. He admitted that he had taken my support for granted. I thought because you were earning well, it was your responsibility to help. I shook my head. It was never my responsibility to carry everyone. He apologized, but I wasn't ready to return. I need to see change, not just hear it. For the next few months, we remained separated. Yao began contributing more towards his family. He stopped giving them money without considering his own responsibility. He also started attending financial counseling lessons. My mother had initially been worried when I left. She eventually told me something that gave me peace. Adra, helping your husband is good, but don't lose yourself in the process. I smiled. Those were the words I needed to hear. During our separation, I also reviewed my own behavior. I realized I had made mistakes too. I had given without discussing limits, had sometimes paid expenses simply to avoid conflict. I had allowed guilt to influence financial decisions. I had confused being supportive with being responsible for everyone. One afternoon, Yao came to see me. He looked different, not because of his clothes, but because of the way he spoke. I want to rebuild our marriage, he said. What will be different? We will have a joint budget. We will agree before supporting family members. We will each contribute according to our income, and I will never use your money without your permission. I looked at him, and if your family needs help, we will discuss it first. I nodded. He reached for my hand. I don't want a wife who is afraid to tell me no. That sentence showed me that perhaps he had finally begun to understand. But I still had one condition. If we try again, we start from the beginning. No secrets, no entitlements, no financial manipulation. He agreed. I wasn't returning because I had forgotten what happened. I was returning only because I had seen evidence that he was willing to change. When I eventually returned home, things were different. We created monthly budgets together. Rent, utilities, food, savings, and personal expenses were clearly divided. We also agreed that helping family members will require a conversation first. At first, it felt strange. Yao had to learn that he couldn't simply tell his family, Adwoa will handle it. I had to learn that saying no didn't make me a bad wife. One evening, Yao's brother called about school fees. Yao looked at me. What do you think? I smiled. Let's see what we can afford. We checked our budget and agreed on an amount. Yao paid his portion and I paid mine. For the first time, helping someone didn't leave me feeling used. Months later, Yao's mother visited us. She apologized. Adwoa, I realize now that I put too much responsibility on you. I hugged her. It's okay, ma. She smiled. Take care of my son, but don't forget to take care of yourself too. I loved. I won't. Our marriage wasn't perfect after that. We still had disagreements. But the difference was that Yao no longer treated my money as something he automatically owned. He began respecting my boundaries, and I began respecting his responsibilities. Looking back, I realized that my biggest mistake wasn't helping my husband. I was allowing my help to become an expectation. There is nothing wrong with supporting the person you love, but support should be appreciated, not demanded. Love should not make one person a provider whilst the other becomes permanently dependent. Marriage is partnership. It is two people carrying responsibilities together. It is knowing when to give and when to say no. Most importantly, it is understanding that your spouse is your partner, not your property. Today, when I hear someone say your money is our money, I remember the painful lessons I learned. Yes, marriage requires sharing, but sharing must come with trust, communication, and mutual respect. Nobody should feel entitled to another person's sacrifice simply because they are married. My experience taught me that Sometimes the only way to make someone understand the value of your kindness is to stop allowing them to take it for granted. So, as Roma viewers, I want to hear from you. If you were in my position, would you have left Yao when you discovered that he was secretly saving his salary whilst using yours to support his family? Or would you have stayed and tried to teach him financial responsibility? Do you think I made the right decision by giving him another chance? Share your honest thoughts in the comments. And if this story touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more emotional and thought provoking stories from SROMA. Thank you.